in defence, that one by Leicester. Got to play it first down, we don't, and it's cost us, and yeah, poor to concede that goal.
Here we go.
Forest lead 2-1. I said Chris Wood would score before this game, and I'm not surprised. Man always scores again. Unbelievable defending again there. Very poor. You never let the ball bounce. Chris Wood makes his play over Anderson. Chris Wood doubles his time.
What's going on, people? It's Mr. Dore back again with the review show. Any Forest fans been hiding after that result? If you don't know the score, that ended Leicester 1, Forest 3. I want to repeat that again. If Jack's watching, Leicester 1, Forest 3. Got the sunglasses on. I'm relaxing, chilling. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. And it's feel great to be a Nottingham Forest fan after we just took the beep out of Leicester City. Let's get the panel in, see how everyone's feeling. Let's get the Welsh Wizards. Steve, how you feeling, Steve?
Yeah, buzzing, Ben. Still buzzing. Yeah, right. We'll get onto it later, but it's a different kind of emotion, like we said before we went on air. Different kind of emotion to other games we played this season, but yeah.
Des
Evening.
was buzzing after the game.
I was.
How are you feeling, Des? Are you still hungover from your night out in Leicester?
Not quite. Just said to you, just a cheeky Stella. I thought this was a Madri and Stella party. So just taking the edge off last night. A bit too much celebration, but late night. Got back about nearly 4. I think probably went to sleep this morning. But really, really enjoyed it, of course, and just not done very much today other than look at Twitter, read the reports, watch the football, and just soak it all in.
Soak it in, all Forest fans, because if you got a Leicester friend, everyone, just take the mick out of them, because I have. And if Jack's seen the video, hope you see it, Jack, and enjoy your defeat graciously. People as well, if you want to donate the money towards defibrillators, please do. The link at the top of the chat helps Amanda get defibrillators around your local football team as well. So please do. The link at the top, and please support. Right, let's get to business. Forest won away, first time in Leicester for a long time. We're going to digest anything. If people in the chat want to get involved, please do. We get a chat. Kevin says, Des is here, get in. Oh, bloody hell. Why are you getting so excited? Because he's here. I'm not. First time since Palace, but Dore, I must say, I'm very impressed with your Forest side. Enjoy the run. It won't last. A Derby emoji. You've got the cheek. Why have you... What? Come on. How are you, Dobby? How are you, the Dwag? You okay? What was the score today? Did you win or lose? I've not heard you for quite a while. Colin said, good win. Very good win. TRG, I'm still happy. I can't stop smiling. Can't you tell? I've got the biggest smile on my face, people. Eve said, good evening, Mr. Dore, Stephen Des. Hope you're well. I'm so happy we won last night. I'm coming to the game next week on Saturday. I will see you there, Eve, as well. Dave, just to say, lads, you res Dave Asprey. Dave, and listen, right, be happy. We won. I've got to keep telling Dave off every single time. Dave, we won. We won. And shout out to him. His dad is here today. His dad passed away, so Mr. Legend himself. The comments coming through. Professional performance, especially his second half as well. It was. KT, I hope you're well, KT. Evening, we're so nervous about the game. What a win. It was a great win, KT. Great win. As well, Simon, evening, gents. Still buzzing. Come on, you Reds. You heard from me last week, and Yeah, I can't remember. I remember you, but I can't remember the other team who you support. And they're still coming in the comments as well. Lewis, England lads, great win. How much you reckon will make Miller? Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. That's. I think that's a different show as well. Right, let's get into it. Stay, come on. We won. How you feeling, mate? How you feeling?
I enjoy them buzzing more. The fact that we're 6 or the way we played last night. I don't know, Ben. Bit of everything really. It's just pinch your time in it really. Being a Forest fan, I mean, we haven't had days like this for many of years away. I know we've been stuck in the Championship and everything, but back in the Premier League, third season in now, riding high. I'm sure we'll not sort of put a negative on it, but I'm sure we'll hit the sticky patch in the season. But we just got to take this as it is now. Performance-wise, last night, first half was on par. I think it was just we were a little bit sloppy in possession. I thought Dominguez and Anderson were a little bit sloppy in parts. I think they covered a lot of ground, but they did give the ball away a few times. Vardy was a threat in the first half. He was a bit of a nuisance, and Harry Winks won the show a bit in midfield. But like they said after the game, we nullified Harry Winks second half. Vardy was even playing. I forgot he was even playing in the second half. Can't remember his name being mentioned in commentary all second half. Just professional performance. We just looked steps at levels above them, didn't we? In all departments, strength and depth again. I'm sure we'll come to players not even in the squad, like players didn't come on, like Bally and Ward-Prowse sit on the bench. Just it's unreal times, isn't it? It's just it's just. And you know what? Even at 1-1, I thought, we'll get the next goal here because they one shot and that was a goal they scored in all 90 minutes. We can come into the fact that it's a Steve Cooper side and all that stuff, but still to nullify, for 90 minutes one shot, and Sell did nothing second half. He had a couple of catches and that was it. I mean, you won't have an easier second half probably all season. But yeah, buzzing, Ben. Just on to West Ham next week now and just keep them points racking up, and before you know it, we won't have to worry about the bottom half. We'd be thinking, to be fair to him, Gary Neville did say they look like a top half seed, and Carragher said as well, Forest look like a top 10 side. So, be long continue.
People book your passports, man. I'm booking my passports. Hope Des is.
Can anyone know? Can anyone out there? Because my mate texted me last night during the game. He said Forest for Europe with a question mark. Has anyone seen the odds on Forest getting a Euro spot? I'd be interested to see as it stands now.
People in the chat, what's the odds on Forest going Europe? Someone in the chat will find us out.
To know. I mean, an outside chance. I mean, just
people in the chat. What's the odds on Forest going Europe? Find out now. I'm just looking for the chat before I get Des in. Paradise evening, DoreOntour. What a game! Come on, you Reds. Red fan. Cooper would have had his play low block last night. Agent Cooper, I say. Agent Cooper. Dave says Callum Hunt's story and Ali was going to be strictly come dancing next year. Actually, was pride the free fist pumps. Yeah, that was unbelievable. Actually, unbelievable that was. Darren says the missus are now from Leicester fans. Can imagine what crap I had put up since we were putting the Prem revenge in sweet in-laws. They've been very quiet today, Darren. The Leicester fans have been very, very quiet. No problems at all for them. Don't know where they are. If any Leicester fan in this chat, comment, please. The man himself, Des. How you feeling, man? I saw you post-match after the game. Tell everyone, how you feeling?
Yeah, absolutely buzzing for it. It's we've had some big wins so far this season, but obviously Liverpool is the highlight so far. But that's a very close second in terms of it. The atmosphere and the way we played was much better, and of course the Cooper dynamic and the local rivalry. But Liverpool was something else. But last night, what. I was really excited and nervous for the game. I know there's this whole thing about, are they really rivals? They're definitely rivals. I say this all the time because that's what makes football exciting. Everybody should be rivals, and I was really nervous going into the game. I always thought we'd win, but it was just the pragmatic approach we sometimes adopt. And I thought we were miles better than Leicester. And what was really nice to see like I thought we were against Palace, we were streets ahead of them. And it's not just about going and winning 3-1 at your local rivals. With all those dynamics thrown in, it's the way that we're sort of controlling football matches at times. I felt we just both teams took a bit of time to grow into the game, and we were just getting on top when we were forcing one or two things. When Yates smashed that one in, of course, that gave us a bit of impetus, and then they nicked one from their only chance of the game, like Steve says. I didn't see them breaking us down very much, and that one was a bit of a bitter pill to swallow. I said to Ian, who I was with at half time, I said, these often finish 1-1. I said, but this ain't going to finish 1-1. I said, there's more goals in this, because I could just see Forest were better than them, and it's simple sometimes, football. One team's better than another, and we've had to endure it when teams have faced us over the last two seasons. Teams are just better than you, and it was purely the case, and it was just nice then to get that goal after half time, which set us up for the second half. I said on my thing, prime Chris Wood. What a performance! What a performance from Wood. Playing like Haaland. I know there's been lots of references made, but just an absolute animal. That's first goal he scored, the second one of the game for us. What a finish. When you look at it in the slow motions and they slow it down, for him to have the confidence to swivel and hit that, and the only place it could have gone into the goal was where he put it. What? And everything sort of aligned for us in the way in the past. These games where we've had ex-managers and this and that. I'm thinking of Nigel Clough at Derby and one or two other things. Where it's all gone against us. You just have to sort of soak it all up, enjoy it, and make the most. And as you know, I spent a lot of time in Leicester last night, so I made the most of it. Behind enemy lines, I had Leicester fans talking to me, and I was just smug to myself, sort of thinking, they don't know, do they? They don't know. So yeah, really, really, really enjoyed it. But just enjoying the fact that, like I said, I spoke to someone before the game, Door, someone I knew. I just said hello, and they said, I said, we're so much better, aren't they? And they said, but we're not that good. And I kind of sort of balanced that by saying, no, we're not a team like Manchester City or like Aston Villa who go and steamroll through teams, but the pragmatic approach that Nuno adopts, at times it's not too dissimilar to the way Cooper plays. Let's be realistic. If you know anything about football, it isn't. But the pragmatic approach, sometimes you're going to have to work hard and be resilient and graft out a game. And we had to graft away back into the lead last night. And then obviously we sort of got another and it made it relatively comfortable. That's what was nice, wasn't it? Because it's the first time, we've won a game by scoring more than one goal. And to see some goals go in, to be comfortable. And I just says, going back to that point where the person said to me, we're not that good yet. No, we're not that good in terms of going steamrolling teams. But you look at Palace, you look at Leicester, other teams down there, and you think we're streets ahead of them. We're absolutely streets ahead of them. So it's not just a case of saying we're going to do Europe and we'll all dream about that, and we're all making the references to the Thursday nights. I've been doing it as much as anyone. But it's the fact that my final point on my video last night after the game, my instant reaction was go and beat West Ham, which is very winnable again, and we're cementing ourselves in the top 10. I remember when we went through those stages with Cooper, it was about getting to this position in the league, getting to this position in the league, this position, and almost sort of consolidating yourself in there. And it feels like we're on that kind of journey again of really, really establishing yourself. I saw one or two comments in a group wherein people saying that they want relegation teams to lose and all this kind of thing to build the gap. There's absolutely no chance we are going to be down in a relegation battle. And that's not just any kind of blind face. We will go through stages this season and losing 5-6 games, because most teams in the Premier League do. Villa and Tottenham and teams like that probably go through those stages, at some point. But what we will do is pick off in Nuno's pragmatic way, the teams that we're better than, and over the last couple of weeks and looking at the next few games, there's a real opportunity. Again, I'm not getting ahead of myself because we could get beat by West Ham next week, but we've got West Ham and Ipswich coming up. You know, you take another 6 points. You know, all of a sudden you're on 22 points after 11 games. You know, and you're only like three wins off surviving. You know, then the whole dynamic changes again, doesn't it? Because if you've survived after a certain point in the season, and this was a frustration sometimes when we was under Cooper, that we weren't killing games off and we were making too many mistakes. All those have gone. I said last year a lot. All those mistakes are now being ironed out. You know, the fact we've got Milenkovic is massive. You know, because of the cover he provides and his own ability. But the further you get in, the more the team's got the capacity or to expand, you know, to start going after games in a different kind of fashion. You know, once you've got 30, 35, 40 points, you know, then we can start going, wow, let's just go and, you know, if the club decide they want to go and attack a European spot, that's where we go. But for me right now, I'm quite happy to sort of I think we're 10th. You know, I'm sure that's a question you might ask somewhere else along the line. And I take that we all get giddy about 4th and 5th when the tables come out before the rest of the weekend, which is all well and good. That's why we're football fans. We want to see it. You know, I think Nuno made the point himself, doesn't it? This is why we have these big games, and that's why I really, really enjoyed last night because, like I said, there was that nervous thing. They had picked up a little bit that I don't think they're going to be as bad as we thought they were, you know, but they're still one of those teams who are going to be right down there struggling. But again, every game in the Premier League is hard, and we've come through another. What's that now? Seven unbeaten away.
7 unbeaten away. Yeah,
and
mad, isn't it? Crazy.
It's not been the easiest. And I know a couple of them were last season, which were the easiest 2 games in the league last season away from home. But we've had Brighton, we've had Chelsea, you know, and we've had Liverpool. So it's not all been a straightforward ride. And to come through games like what I'm most pleased about is these away wins and points against the big clubs are not a fluke, are they? No. You know, because we're not coming back and getting turned over by Leicester or Southampton or whoever. You know, there's been 1 or 2. The frustrations really have been at home.
Yeah.
But if you've got a team that can go away and win points, you know, you're giving yourself a chance, because at home you've always got a chance, no matter who you are.
100%. Before I get started, I'm just going to go through the comments on this. Michael says, "How are you doing, Michael? Good performance for Nuno and put it from Alanga and Anson being wasteful. Looking forward to our missing midfield returning, and Sergio and Jota are getting more game time. 100%, Michael. Hope you're well. TTC, all the stresses and the worry we had in the last season, it's just pure bliss right now. True Red, evening Red. Hope you're well, my friend. Mark, how you doing, my friend? If people want to be a member to the channel, please do. It costs like 99p a month. It helps me the channel. It helps me a lot as well. But indicator of where we are coming from with the 2 Manchester games in the beginning of December. We've got Man City and Man U. So they're going to do the big testers. And if we do get results there, we can just think about top 6 or whatever, but jokes aside. Steve, let's talk about the man himself. I love Ryan Yates. Got his goal. I was going bonkers. And if the Australian David is watching this, David, I hope you're smiling now, my friend, because he was giving not grief. He's back joking aside. He wasn't going to. Passing the ball backwards and blah 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 when we could have gone forward at the right time. But he got his goal. Great goal. People in chat as well. How you feeling about Ryan Yates as well? Steve, talk about Yatesy, man.
I think he took his goal well anyway, to be fair to him. Shame that he couldn't bury the one with his left foot. He skied that one.
And Neville hit the post.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and Neville and Carragher kind of teased him about that after the game, about when he skied. But Des just made a point about the mistakes under the previous regime and previous season. Now, Ryan Yates mentioned that in his interview, saying we're trying to cut out the mistakes of seasons gone by. And he made a valid point that we are cutting down these mistakes. We are still yet to concede from a corner, which is mental.
Great.
And coming back to Yates, though, I think the midfield did struggle a little bit in the first half yesterday because, like the pundits they were raving about Harry Winks in the first half yesterday. And I felt he did dictate the ball quite a bit. And I think Dominguez, Anderson, and I think out of the three though, probably Ryan Yates were the best out of the three in our first half yesterday. I felt he held the he could have passed forward a bit more, but I think out of the three of them, I thought he probably played the best. But in the second half, he just moulded like the rest of the team. He didn't really stand out because they all collectively played well. So overall, first half, I thought he was the best out of the three. And in the second half, everything just came together and he could have had 2 or 3. And I mean, didn't someone say a point if he had scored that goal, we would have been 5th? Is it goal difference we're on? We're in 6th?
It's goal different. Yeah.
So it's just little things like that, But I mean, they showed him that back in skying it from, what was it, 4 or 5 yards, and you just like, I think he wanted to swear it on TV.
I was cheesed off. I'm like,
you should have been.
Watch the vlog. I was like, God, why can't he score that? Like, I was cheesed off. Yates, I was beat up. He could have scored that. But
he took the harder chance, didn't he? The goal he took was a far harder chance than that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just he's grown as a player as well, and he, in his interview afterwards, sounding more mature, but still got that bit of cheekiness about him. And I think he's just the armband. He's suited to the armband. Again, you got Milenkovic, who's a backup captain, like I've said many times. So he did mention his interview as well. He wants to add. He said himself. I don't know if you've seen the interview, by the way. He wants to take it to the next level.
He's got
by scoring more goals.
He's got to.
By scoring more goals, that's how we... And I said that a while back, a couple of seasons ago. For Ryan Yates to go to that next level, he needs to start taking these chances. How many chances he have in the 6-yard box from headers and, like the chance he missed, he needs to put them away. He needs to start aiming for that 5 to 10 goals mark. Maybe get like a 7 for the season. And I'll take him to that next level then. But he's cemented he's captain now, and he's cemented himself into that team. 100%. So, yeah, fair play to him.
Just see Mark says Everton have equalised. I know the Fulham winning 1-0, but now, bloody hell.
Yeah, they just...
94th minute.
Bloody hell. Who scored it? Who scored
it? Beto.
Bloody hell, 1-1. I'm just going to go through the comments as well. So, Ryan Yates keeps getting better and better. World class. He's one of our own, 100%. And Michael said, I'm not the biggest fan of Yates, but he was superb last night. Got stuck in around the pitch.
Sorry, Ben. Before Des, can I just say, because Ben was talking about, Des was talking about the tactics and so on. Can I just say one thing quick? I've seen a lot of footage of pundits in the last 24 hours, and a lot of them now, there's a bit of a pattern coming out. They're praising Forest up more, but also they're mentioning different ways Forest can win games now. The impact we have off the bench, and it goes back to the squad depth. Like one pundit said, it's quite scary to think that Gibbs White's not even in the team yet. You got Ward-Prowse sitting on the bench.
That's what that's the next question for Des as well.
Yeah. So I just quickly draw a line the line. I'm just saying it's who was the pundit as well said about the different ways. I think it was Lee Dixon and someone. It was an American channel, and they said Forest now are finding different ways to beat teams, and that is a sign of a good manager.
And that's the next question I want to Des, because when you got played like Sangari's injured, Danilo's injured, Ward-Prowse can't get on. We've got Taiwo, John Silva, we've got Morata, we've got Williams. Des, we've got a strong team on the bench, and we're grinding out wins as well. It's 2 seasons ago, even last season, we can look at the bench and say, can this person change the game? No, but it's so different now, Des, from now to the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's different to the end of last season. If we didn't have Morgan Gibbs-White for a couple of games, we weren't winning. It was as simple as that. He was our lifeline. And it's great. I love the guy. I still think he's absolute quality, and he's the first name on the team sheet for me. But the reality is now I'm a lot more confident as a fan when he's not playing, and it's proved in the last 2 games that we can win Premier League matches without him. That doesn't mean he's still an absolute piece of dynamite and a quality player and an addition to the team when he comes back in, because I'm sure he comes back in, do you know, whatever anyone thinks. I know players have earned their shirts and their positions, and those players you mentioned in midfield. I thought Dominguez was fantastic last night out the three of them.
100%.
You know, and just to go back a little bit, I'm going to sort of take the point back there. This thing about Harry Winks and the pundits,
Oh,
nonsense.
rubbish.
Right? He may as well have
Rubbish.
played third. He may as well have played third centre back. Do you know? Because what he was doing, he was playing that deep. Forest were letting him have the ball. It was Leicester's downfall in the end of the day. So if you want to hear about tactics, you know, Wout Faes and the other centre back were getting that wide because he was so deep collecting the ball. They were getting wide, and it were letting Forest come in on them. Ilanga come in many times in the first half. Hudson-Odoi, they were playing into Hudson-Odoi's hands by letting him come in and do what he does and try and get that strike away. And he nearly scored in the first half from it. So this thing about Winks, just because he had the football, he was doing nothing with it. Leicester weren't a threat throughout, apart from the goal. The guy on the right-hand side was terrible. You know, I can't remember who it was.
They're raving about him as well.
Fatso, is it Fatso?
Yeah, yeah, they've been raving about him the last couple of weeks.
He put a couple of balls in, but and Forest didn't get tight enough at times. But it's not as if like Hudson and Odoi and Ilanga, and I know Ilanga's sort of missing some end product at the moment. But when they get the ball, you're kind of getting up off your seat. You go at them, you know, have a go at them. It was only sort of Forest's mistake. So this thing about Winks, and you look at the goal Forest scored, and I know you can't always just blame a defensive midfielder because of where he scored it from, but he was closing him down. You know, and you see the Leicester goalkeeper goes mad. And I've heard one or two things about Forest midfield wasn't great. You know, it was workmanlike, it was different. And again on the goal, Elliot Anderson, if you watch it, he's done some of his number 10 skills. You know, some of the stuff which created chances against Palace earlier in the week, where he goes on a bit of a dribble and then he kind of tries to sort of, nothing intentional, but he kind of tries something and then it ends up at Yates' feet and he blasts it in the bottom corner. And it's players that it's all right having Harry Winks and going, oh, he's had 45 touches, didn't do sod all with it. You know, Elliot Anderson didn't have the most effective game for what we've seen. He didn't dominate the football as much as he did against Crystal Palace, but when he did have the football, he made things happen. You know, there was little bits of skill out on the wing where he'd back heel it or do a little bit of a trick and it set Moreno away or little things like that. You know, and sometimes it's just about the simple stuff and keeping hold of it. And I think Forest, definitely as the game sort of went on, got better in midfield, but I don't think it was a weakness at all. And just sort of coming back to your point, Dore, about strength and depth, you know, you mentioned 3 players there who at the start of the season, potentially 4, depending on your opinion on Sangare, you know, but definitely 3 who didn't play last night. You know, who would have started the season, who did start the season. Danilo, Sangare and Morgan Gibbs-White all played in the first game of the season. You know, and now we can live without them. You know, imagine if we got Danilo sort of with the flexibility I personally like to see from him in different positions in the midfield. Imagine if he's available. Do you know, when Ryan Yates has done all his thing, we know what Ryan Yates is. People can say they like him or don't like him. It's totally subjective because it's the impact he has on a football pitch. When Forest are missing energy, do you know, because some of these skillful players aren't quite at it or they can't get hold of the ball against a really technical midfield, Ryan Yates is a horse for a course. You know, he's the player that you want in there to pick up everything. Don't know if you've seen that little. There's a little video doing the rounds where Ryan Yates spoke to Martin O'Neill.
When he made his debut. Yeah.
And it was quite a touching moment, wasn't it? You know, and Martin O'Neill made the point, didn't he? And it's all right thinking this isn't big in the Premier League; it's massive. You know, it's getting a bit like American football in this sense, winning free kicks. You know, Man City signed Jack Grealish because of all the free kicks he won. You know,
no one talks about it, Des. No one talks about.
And Martin O'Neill said this guy's genuinely in the top 5 at winning free kicks for himself.
We
know he is. He's got, and sometimes it's frustrating because he's got he's got an art of like trying to disguise it sometimes, and it doesn't quite work. But again, all these things make a difference on a football field, and sort of alluding to Steve's point, and it's something I've been picking up from the pundits of late. I watched this stick to football thing with Gary Neville and Keane and Carragher and all those, and they're always talking about different ways to win football matches because, and it's something I've said myself on here a million times, everyone tries to play like Man City. And if you don't, you're cast as some kind of park the bus roadblock, this, all these modern phrases that we don't like using come out. But the reality is there is more than one way, and Forest is showing that we can win football matches now by playing in a pragmatic way, but with really steely, determined, technically gifted and skillful at the same time players, and a good mix of the two. And I think what we sort of take from Gibbs White not playing is what a fillet to have for the team, for the manager, what a problem to have. Now we've got Ward-Prowse, who not many pass it better than him, and his free kicks, and again, that's a real asset. There was a couple of times where you thought if he was on the pitch, but nobody's a given. Nobody walks it. I'm sure the centre backs to some degree are, that they've really firmed everything up. But again, you look at these situations and think, sat on the bench. I looked at the bench yesterday and thought, wow, 12 months ago, we were saying Steve Cooper still can't find his best 11. It kept going for, and I'm not blaming Steve Cooper for that. It was to do with the transfer windows and the players available and all things like that. But we kept saying we need to somehow, although the Premier League and the subs are ever evolving, you've got to find some sort of stability. Nuno is. I was thinking about the transfer window and how well it has gone. It's incredible, really, when we think of the last transfer window in comparison. I'm not one of these who gets upset what the pundit said. I did think it was a bit wacky, the approach, but you can't do anything but praise the last transfer window because it really looks calculated in what they've done. He identified that he wanted Aino at right back and he wanted a left back. Wasn't necessarily a popular choice. The popular players was in situ, Toffolo and Nico, but they're not quite what's being put on the field at the moment. He identified that. He identified the centre back. I'm not saying he picked him personally, but he identified we need to do more from corners and conceding and attacking, and we filled that position. I'm sure there's still murmurings around the goalkeeper because I don't think he's 100% convinced, even though Sells has been phenomenal over the last few weeks. But you're looking at, you look sort of beyond that where it didn't necessarily need strengthening too much. And then you see Anderson's come into a midfield and Ward-Prowse again. People can ever go at me all they want what I said about Sangare. The club.
You try to get people to get in there, Des, now.
No, it's fine, but the club, Nuno, whoever, identified it was a position to strengthen, even with the injuries to Danilo. Well, as well as the injuries to Danilo, it was making us a bit weaker. Look at when they all start creeping back to fitness and creeping into the team. Wow, what a team! Imagine bringing primed Danilo on yesterday. It's like now, isn't it? With Jota Silva and Sosa. What a couple of players to bring on.
Yeah.
And because I'm not quite sure they're ready for full Premier League action yet. At some point they will have to be because they should be because they're footballers. But if you've got legs like that, imagine Danilo coming into the team. Imagine Gibbs White sat on the bench yesterday. Like I say, I probably would put him straight back in anyway. But imagine him sat on the bench and coming on after 70 minutes. If he were fit, it's crazy to think where we've come, and it's not that crazy to think that 10th is realistic. Another one of 4, 5, 6 games, and no sign of it dropping off, and a good run with the injuries and form and things like that. It's an exciting time and an exciting season, and you started it by the whole Gibbs White thing. I just think it just says a lot about how far we've come and how well they've managed the playing squad. because it was mismanaged. There's no doubt about that. It was mismanaged between getting into the Premier League until this transfer window, and they've really, really smashed it. Can't give
100%.
them more than 10 out of 10 if I'm being realistic of what type of players Forest can actually attract, even down to the point of not panic buying a striker. Not panic buying. I'm not convinced about Tyro at the moment, and I'm not writing him off because we're always.
He didn't come on there. He didn't come on for yesterday a little bit. He did all right.
He's okay, and the fact of the matter is, he don't have to be anything at the moment because Chris Wood's banging the goals in.
Yeah, exactly.
But there was a point when Tyro was not fit at all, and if Chris Wood generally doesn't see out a game because of the way he plays and his type of approach to it, and then you're left with no strikers on the pitch at times. But what I'm saying is credit to the club on the other sense that they just didn't go and panic buy, a striker.
A striker, yes.
They identified targets, and when it didn't pay off, they left it alone, and it just shows that it seems to be settling down. Steve mentioned the nonsense at the end of last season, and everything was nonsense, wasn't it? Referees, VAR, this, that. It was almost like everything was to blame. Right now, it's like we're stick to football, we're sticking to the football and letting that do the talking. And all of a sudden, people are starting to warm to the fact, as you mentioned by those two idiots on Sky, we're actually quite a good side. Because what they generally do is base an opinion on whatever they've seen or read elsewhere, because they don't watch us very much.
100%.
But now they're getting to see what we're doing. We go and beat Liverpool and we play them off the pitch. All of a sudden, their ears pick up and realise that actually, and like I made my point before, a friend said to me, we're not that good, are we? No, we are. We're miles better than teams, but we just do it in a different way. We do it in a more pragmatic way, which is churning out results in football matches.
100%.
Can
Go on, Steve.
Sorry, Ben. Go to Colin. Oh, just a quick one about the squad and the depth and the manager. It's showing the level of with training and so on. You see these videos and the team together. I think that spirit has come back. I think when the first season we saw that group of players united, and that's what got us through. I think we did go through a patch, especially last year. I got a vibe off some of the players; they weren't happy, and towards the end of Cooper's reign, and that kind of thing. And then Nuno came in, all the cloud over the club, and so on. But now it's showing the players come off the bench, like Morato, Nico, Taiwo. They're working hard. Jota, Sosa, they're working hard when they're coming on. There's no body language given off that. I'm not happy. I don't want to bother. I'm here to make the numbers up. They on the pitch and they work and they socks off. And that's a sign of a good manager keeping everything knitted together. Because look, like me and Des just said, we've run off these players. Bolly can't even get on the pitch, and Bolly was one of our most important defenders last year. So if you put him in, we've got to a stage now where even if Toffolo, and this is nothing against Toffolo, even if Toffolo came on now, you would know he'd do a job. He won't have the same qualities as Moreno or Nina, but he would do a job, and he's there. He's a squad player, but he's there, and he's a solid player. And these players still to come back from injury, and you've got Omar Balotelli, he can't even get in the squad. And against Newcastle, he was one of our better players, and he can't even get in the squad. So it just shows that even if he came in, you wouldn't just go, oh no. But so we've kind of gone away from that, and this is what Des is saying about we've come to this stage now where really every player, okay, some players are not up to the level of what we've signed. I get that. Maybe like Toffolo's not in the same league as Moreno and so on, but still they do a job and they come onto the pitch and they just work in their socks off, and that's just a sign of a because someone like Nico Williams could have spat his dummy out. He was nailed on as right back for the last 2 seasons. Now he comes on and makes cameos for 20 minutes, half hour. But when he comes on, he's going to give 100%. And that, as a fan, you respect more than anything. 100%. When he comes on, he works hard, he puts the tackles in, gets forward. And if you notice, someone like Nico, I think he's starting to use him a bit more up the pitch as well. So Nuno is actually tapping into players like with Anderson. He drop him deep, push him up. So he's getting more flexible as well in the way he's using players as well, which is good. And Jota and Sosa are so flexible, where he either flank, Jota can play through the middle. It's a really good headache to have, and that just shows the squad's
But
depth. And
it goes back to the point, Steve, where I think sometimes the players realise they might be a horse for a course. There might be a situation that is better for them to come into. Do you know? And I watched. I'm not going to name the podcast or the person who said it, but I watched a respected podcast the other day, and someone was on about Morgan Gibbs White and that he should play behind Elliot Anderson. No, he shouldn't. You know, let's not start getting too technical about how we get players into the team. You know, the reality is Gibbs White's the best player in that position for me, even what Anderson's done over the last couple of games. And I'm a massive fan of Anderson, absolutely love him. But we've got genuine competition for places, which is a great thing to have in a football team. You know, let's not get too technical and start saying, well, to fit him in, let's play him in midfield and do this. You're going to take so much away from Gibbs White if you start playing him behind Anderson. You know, you just go with what works for the situation in front of you. You know, football's one of those things. You can't look further. It's a cliche, I know, but you can't look further than the next 90 minutes. We've got West Ham on Saturday. If it comes to a situation where Nuno believes he can't play Elliot Anderson and Morgan Gibbs White, he's got a straight choice to make, hasn't he? It might work in Morgan Gibbs White's favour because he's the superstar. It might work in Anderson's favour because he's in possession of the shirt, you know, and he's the one who's been playing well recently. And then Gibbs White might have to sort of take his medicine and sit on the bench. But the reality is, let's not start going down the road of getting all too sort of worried about who gets picked. As long as this team's winning football matches, you know, everybody's going to be happy, aren't they? The problem in football teams, and I've played in them, is when people start making decisions where, oh, you're going to go and play in that position because I want him to play there and I want to do this, and I want, when it doesn't make no sense whatsoever. When you're winning football matches and getting the points on the board, every decision makes sense, you know. So whoever plays, we've seen it, didn't we? The Fulham game, there was a bit of criticism aimed at Nuno because we felt he went very pragmatic at home, you know. And I genuinely think at home we've got to go Ilanga and Hudson-Odoi on the wings, you know, every single week, whoever we're playing, because and if we play with Dominguez and Anderson as sort of more pragmatic wingers in away games, I get it, you know, because it worked so well at Anfield. And those guys would have to take the medicine in that case and sit on the bench a bit like Hudson-Odoi did and come on and made a difference, as well as Elanga in that game. So again, I think we've just got to just sort of stay real in what we are. You know, we know, I keep using this word and it's become a bit of a theme already throughout the show. Nuno's pragmatic approach, he's not going to get too jiggy with it. You know, he's not going to get all Pep Guardiola on us. You know, and start playing Guardiola on the wing and things like that. You know, like he does. And I think we just got to just take it for what it is. You know, we've got some quality players all of a sudden, and a really, really sort of exciting season ahead of us in terms of potential progress from where we were when we were looking at it and going, right, do you know, there were times when Serge Aurier, for as good as he was sticking his hand up because he couldn't be bothered. You know, 60 minutes gone and you thought, well, he's not playing a full game. Do you know, and one or two players, and I'm not going to pick them out because we're talking positive, one or two players in the current team, do you know, who probably was a bit guilty of that as well. Do you know, and all of a sudden you're getting 90 minutes out of players and they want to play, and, do you know, because they realise the value of holding on to that shirt and being available for the next game.
I think just to draw a line under this subject quickly before we go on the next one, is Gibbs White is the only player in the squad with the exception of if you're going to win in team, when he's back fit, if he was to walk straight back into that team, I'm sure all the other players won't go, that's not right, because they all know how important he is to our team and the way he makes the team tick. So I think he's the only exception where if he was to come straight back in and cut out like maybe a Dominguez or even an Anderson, you wouldn't be like, well, that's wrong. He should just step back in because we all know how important Gibbs White is. So I think, it's like Morato. I've said it to you, Ben, on this show, but I love to see him have full 90 to see what he's about. But we've only seen cameos from him. But when he has come on, we've yet to concede. So, that's all I want to say.
100%. I'm just going to go through the comments, and I've got fanboy from Des. Hi Ben, hi Steve, hi Holland. Fanboy Des. Does like Holland? I don't even know. How you doing, David? Can't you say something nice about me instead? Please do. Why Des? Another one from debate. This is from Michael. Play Anson as a number 8, Moggs as a 10. Problem solved.
Totally agree with that.
No, I don't. Quick Tell says, evening all, what a lovely day. It is a great day. Still, if you've not seen the video of the vlog, go and watch it after the podcast, please. Gina said, the calm's there now. We need to create a better environment. Yeah, 100%. And JK Electric, Forest Magic everywhere we go. People, please do hit the like button if you can, subscribe if you're new, and make sure everyone follows everyone on make sure to follow Des on Twitter, see his African reactions as well. And as well, if you want to help out Amanda for defibrillators, please do. The link is at the top. She's trying to get as much defibrillators at local football teams as well. It helps her a lot, so please do. Steve, let's talk about Chris Ward. Every stream we talk about him, he scores for fun. What else can I say about this guy? He's just technically he is the third best forest striker we've ever had. It's a fact. It's a fact. People in the chat, right? Let me say something. People in the chat, right? I put my hands up. I darted Chris Wood. In the chat, right. Did you dart Chris Wood? Don't lie. Put yes or no or Y or N. Stay. Let's talk about Chris Wood, man. Guys, can
anyone on between us three, or even in the chat, think of another player in recent times where they turn around so quick and just shove it back in our faces? Because I'm sure each one of us as well, at some point since he signed with us, doubted Chris Wood. Because even myself, to be fair to myself, I will say, and you go back and watch the videos, when he signed him, Cooper wasn't using him right. I said that at the time. We didn't play into his strengths. So when he was playing, he just looked lost. No, Ben, I said that. I said it on the show. I said,
right. Glenn, was it Glenn and who was it? Who else was it? Glenn and someone else said, and Glenn was right. And who else was it? Not Mollo, Australian David said it right as well. I'll find it. I'll look back on it and see.
I said that Wood. I did doubt him a little bit, but to be fair, I did say Cooper just didn't get the best out of him. He did not play into his strengths, and Wood just looked lost, and he just completely looked out of his depth in our team. But for the turnaround in a player, and he's turned the clock. What is he now? 31, 32?
Yeah, 33.
Yeah, and this is why I asked that question on the group the other week about, would you take the Chris Wood now, as he's playing now, or would you have prime Lewis Grabham? My point I was trying to make was, who would have said that you would be like, oh, Chris Wood every day, Chris Wood every day, Chris Wood. And it goes back to only not long ago, everyone would pick Taiwo over Chris Wood. Now, who's the first name on the sheet?
Chris Wood.
And it's just, there's a couple of names there, Collymore, Pierre, and Johnson. Like, who's he behind? Palmer, Haaland, and is it Salah?
Yeah, people in the chat. Who was it? I don't know.
I can't remember who the third is. But the goals return since Nuno's come in is just, I mean, if he doesn't score in a game now, you think there's something wrong with him. It's just, and like Des said, that Neville was drooling over that. No, not Neville, Carragher, sorry. Carragher was drooling over that goal, that first goal yesterday. If you watch that from behind, the way
someone else say, if that was someone else, like a Haaland or someone else, they'd be
Oh, it'd
absolutely
be,
about it over and
yeah,
over
it'd
again.
be, of course it would. It'd be goal of the month. But the way he just like turned and the way he had the bend on the ball, and like they said, he had to go in that only place to go, and the keeper had no chance. It's just and the second goal, he was sharp.
Yeah,
He was almost like he anticipated
that's
the
what we call a
defenders.
striker's goal. That's called a striker's goal.
Yeah, yeah, anticipated the mistake. There's Dylan.
Yeah. Hello, Dylan.
uh, yeah, it's just unreal. So the turnaround is just. I mean, how many goals is that now? 7 and 9. That's almost
Yeah.
a goal a game. I mean, it's unreal to think if he was to get injured now, touch wood, what would he be? Take his goals out. And I think someone did say it on Twitter, take his goals out in the Forest team since he's
Yeah.
come in, and where would we be? We might be in the Championship.
Yeah.
It's just, it's almost, he's been important. And like, we lost Johnson and so on, but it just shows he's the first team, he's his first name on the team sheet now, which is unreal to think of, Ben, when full circle, when we were all doubting him, we were all saying this. And I won't mention names, but people on this show was saying, "Oh, how much we spending him?"
I'm on the bus,
They've robbed
Steve.
it.
Steve.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
You
No. I'm
can't
not
just
throwing
Steve.
any
No.
names.
Throw him under
Right,
the
I'm
bus.
not throwing any names.
I'll jump in, Steve, because do you know what? Everybody had right to sort of question what was happening with Chris Wood because he wasn't very good when he signed. Do you know, it can
That's it,
happen.
Des.
Do you know, we're
Throw him under the
allowed to
bus.
we all make judgments on footballers based
Des,
on what we
throw him
see.
under the bus. Des, stop trying to name the people who does. He said, right, Chris Wood.
No, you want a point about Chris Wood. Anybody who said he wasn't very good was correct because he wasn't very good. Do you know, he's turned it around. That's what happens in football. Do you know, I don't rate Sangare as a Forest player, but he might go and play for another club and be absolutely superb. And we get it with Cooper, don't we? Because we were fans with Cooper, every time they get beat or something happens, we get it rammed down our throat. The fact of the matter is we all want Forest to win. So we all want to see the best Chris Wood, the best Nuno. Do you know, whatever's gone before, do you know, the guy has proved he can score goals. He's scored a lot of goals in the Premier League over a number of seasons and played for lots of clubs. There's a reason his team comes for him. The thing about it when he came to Forest, which for me, Steve sort of said he wasn't being used in a way. I don't quite agree because obviously Cooper would have had his idealisms of how he wanted him played. The thing we didn't have the players around him. We were still he was still nicking him with the odd goal here and there, but he wasn't getting the amount of chances. You know, we were making a lot more mistakes. Believe me, when Chris Wood scores in a 1-0 win, it gets noticed a lot more when Chris Wood scores in a 1-1 draw because a centre back's passed it to an opposition striker in the last few seconds and we've come out of it with a point. You know, it gets noticed a lot more because he is then genuinely winning football matches. The problem was other players were losing us or sort of losing points for us at the other end of the pitch. I'm not putting all his form onto everyone else because it just wasn't working. You know, there's a lot of things that go into the makeup of a team. And the best thing about Wood for me in the last couple of games, especially, you know, and why I sort of made that comment about prime Chris Wood last night is because I have believed for the last since Chris Wood's been there, that Morgan Gibbs White is the goal creator, you know, and he owes a lot to Morgan Gibbs White for sort of helping him score goals, you know, being that quality player. The thing what people don't get about Gibbs White, and I know we're talking about Wood, but it directly relates. Gibbs White adjusts his game to the striker in front of him. Do you know, whether it's Brennan Johnson or whether it's Chris Wood or whether it's Taiwo, he becomes number one sort of assister. He builds that link up. He's not just a good player around him. He builds up the relationship with the player. And you see all of a sudden how Chris Wood runs off Morgan Gibbs White and he knows where to find him and he knows where to play the ball. You can see it a little bit with Anderson sort of developing, you know, in the last couple of games. But that's the best thing about this whole situation for me because I was a firm believer because I'd not seen it any other way and I'd not seen anyone else in the team contributing like Gibbs White did. That I believe that Chris Wood needed Morgan Gibbs White in the team to be effective. we've seen in the last couple of games, it's probably helped him get to a point where he's confident, and he's confident with everybody else around him. But he's also got better players now. So I'm not diminishing Morgan Gibbs-White's contribution to what Chris Wood's done. It's still there. It's still prominent. What I'm saying is, he can. I'm actually seeing him now score goals without Gibbs-White in the team. What a position for him to get to from where from. Let's face it, it looked like he couldn't hit the proverbial cow's backside, you know. It just looked like that when he came. He looked slow and laboured, but so did the team. The team looked lethargic, and it didn't have the quality in it. But that's football, isn't it? It's about building teams and working to player strengths. And what we have to rave about more than what happened with Chris Wood 18 months ago is how the manager, you know, because he's always believed in him. I don't think he's quite got the same belief in Tyro. You know, even when Tyro's been fit, he's not been the first choice. The manager has believed in him and believed his goals. And one thing that nobody gets in football these days, you know, if you stick with some work, you work hard at it, and you're consistent, the results will come.
100%.
You know, and that's exactly what's happened with Wood. We know he can put it away, but every striker in all the best strikers in the world, you know, probably apart from Ronaldo and Messi, have gone through goal droughts.
Chris Wood's better.
You know, they've gone through goal droughts, haven't they? Do you know, Haaland last season went through a goal drought, about 5-6 games. Do you know, it happens, and then they work on it and they hit the ground running. So we're a bit. It's typical of football fans when someone's not playing. Oh, I stuck with him. I did this. It don't matter. You know, sometimes we're allowed to criticise. We're football fans.
Exactly. Everyone has their opinion.
We invest in it emotionally, sort of financially, you know, time-wise. So we are allowed to have an opinion. It just sometimes when you say certain things, everybody wants to fight it and go, well, it's point scoring. The reality is, all we really want is Forest to win. And for Forest to win, Chris Wood, on top of his game like he is a fantastic commodity to have.
100%.
Have you two seen the interview with Wood after the game?
I've not seen it. What was?
No, right. When he comes out to talk to the Sky Sports, like Neville and so on, he mentions on there that because they obviously mentioned him since Nuno's come in, his form, and he said him and Nuno had a conversation, and he was touching on basically that to bring the best out of him. So it's almost like Nuno has pulled him to one side, and like Des said, he's notified that Wood is his man. He's worked at him, and we're reaping the benefits now. So I think since he's come in, the turnaround, and my point being about how Cooper didn't get the best of the Wood, I know that's not knocking Cooper about the Wood. It's just, you make a good point there, is that we didn't have the players around him. I just felt under Cooper, perhaps that system just didn't suit Wood. Under Nuno, with the wingers, now we have got with Alanga and so on, just suits Wood far better. Whipping them crosses in, he holds the ball up, he can spin.
No, I didn't want to make that sort of. I didn't want to dismiss your point because it was totally valid in some ways. The thing was back then, Forest, like the wingers, come in under Cooper's tenure. So it was being identified, and it's all a development to where we're at today.
Yeah.
Do you know, and I'm not saying we'd have been here if Cooper was here. Do you know, I'm not that stupid. We could have been struggling. We could have been, you know, he might have done different things. But again, I guess it's testament to the owners, you know, to keep moving it forward, you know, bit by bit, and it's a brilliant way of doing it. You know, of course, we all want to win the Premier League this season, but it's such a fantastic. As a purist, like I try to be, and watch a lot of football and try and think about it a bit more than just the nonsense that goes off on the telly. It's such a lovely process to watch, for the want of a better word. Do you know? And again, that started there with Cooper. So I'm not having a go at you, Steve, because it wasn't working.
Oh, no,
wasn't. But it was the start of the process where we didn't have the wingers, so he didn't have that sort of contribution. So he was making runs. He was getting dragged out left and stuff. Do you know, that was the big frustration, wasn't it, under Cooper?
He should have been in the middle. Yeah.
And that's where we all started thinking, what's going on here? But Now, you know, like we just sort of reiterated, he's come good, and that's what players get form, they lose form. You know,
100%.
sometimes it's just a fluke of time. You know, God forbid, and he could go 6 games without a goal now, and we'd all start saying, "Well, when's Tyro coming back in?" But,
Exactly.
you know, but
Exactly.
that's how it is, isn't it?
I'm just going through the comments before we get people's man of the match. So people get ready to say man of the match in the chat, please. There's good questions like talking about Chris Wood. He's on bang on fire, but this is a good what Katie said. Isn't it great we're talking about all these players, various positions, all playing so well? Striker, midfield, and one of the best defense in the league. Forest are on fire, 100%. It's just mad that we can just talk about good players at last, and we were not throwing players like, oh, he's not good enough, and this and that. It's good to feel like we're playing good, we're getting great results, and it's good to be a Forest fan. And we've had tough days for the last 2 years, but it's good to see. Like I said, I think guys talking about lovely interview last night, saying he relied on his teammates' service. He doesn't have to do pace. Now we have a pace down the wings to provide his service. 100%, Gary. 100%.
Michael says, Wood is a team player.
Yeah. Michael says, signing every player to gamble, but credit to whoever wants Wood and Chris Wood. Wanted Steve Cooper, wanted Chris Wood. Doesn't get credit for that, does it? But it is what it is. Last one, Katie says, my husband sports Man United. He wants to wear Forest shirt soon. Katie, make sure he wears a Forest top and put on all social media to get him. Right, people in chat, who's your man of the match? Get in now. There's 50 people in. Please do hit the like button if you can. I'm on 22 likes. Get me to 50 likes, please. Helps my channel a lot. Right, let's stay. Who's your man of the match and the whole team rated?
Well, the way the first half was panning out and the way the game was going, I would have given it to Hudson-Odoi because I felt he was the most threatening. He hit the post. If that goal had gone in, that would have been a beautiful goal. Trademark Hudson-Odoi. But for his 2 goals, they're going to have to give it to Wood. Because like I said, it would have been Hudson-Odoi, but Wood just nicks it because of the 2 goals. The way he took them and the way he led the line. I mean, he completely overshadowed Vardy overall. The strikers in that game, and yeah, just led the line and just the way he conducts himself as well. Like the interview that Gary mentioned then after the game, he's a team player. The way he talks about the team, there's no ego there. He seems just a humble guy, you know. It's just where he comes very professional, like we've said, and that's one thing we've never doubted since he's joined the club. Yes, we could say, oh, he's been poor about since when he first joined, but he's always been professional. So for me, Chris Wood, and for team rating, I'd give it a 8.5.
8.5.
Just because can I just say one thing? If it is only one negative I'd find the last couple of weeks, and maybe you lot of spot as well, I'm finding in games we have a bit of a lull just before our time. There's a 10-15 minute spell where we just seem to go off the boil a bit. It happened against Palace, where that last 15 was terrible in the first half. Yesterday we conceded, and I felt the game was going a bit flat, and Leicester had not 1 or 2 chances, but they obviously scored the goal. So just because of that, and the fact they did score, I have to give it 8.5. But the atmosphere, I'm sure, was 10 out of 10. Because coming through the TV, right, the Forest fans were so loud. I mean, they were so loud.
Go and watch my vlog. I said to you, go and watch my vlog. It was absolutely mental.
And unreal atmosphere to be. And at the end with the players going over and Moreno leading the fist pumps. So at first, I don't think he's meant to do it because he just kind of went like that, and he just went like that, and the fans went, "Hey!" And he went,
do you think that was cheap?
The fans were goading Steve Cooper, weren't they?
Yeah, that's goaded him.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, because for the TV, I just heard "oh" and I heard "boo." So he must have been walking that. Yeah,
he was walking around.
That's it.
Des, who's your man of match and team rating?
Somebody said it there. The easy option is Wood, but it's the easy option because he was man of the match. You know, it's that straightforward. Steve used the term, he led the line. You know, that's his job. That's his strength. He's not got the pace. He's not going to when Wood gets man of the match, it's not because he's had 4 million touches of the ball. It's because he stuck it in the goal when he needed to, and he's done it well. And that's exactly what he did. You know, and again, the fact he wasn't playing with Gibbs White again tells me a lot. It's kind of for me, it's an extension of the Palace game where he might have been man of the match in some quarters, but where he could possibly been man of the match. What I like about Chris Wood now, and this possibly wasn't the case when he wasn't playing too well, is when he misses a chance, it doesn't matter. He's just completely unfazed by it. Do you know? And they always say to strikers, do you know, as long as you keep getting chances, do you know, you're doing the right things, you're getting in the right areas. You've seen Yates has missed. You know, these things happen on a football pitch.
I was pissed off, my lad. I was pissed off.
Haaland's missed one today, apparently. Do you know, listening to Soccer Saturday, which is unbelievable. Do you know, from 2 yards, but it happens. As long as when a striker's badly out of form and when he's letting it affect him, it doesn't happen because they stop making the runs, they stop getting into position, and that's where yesterday he put himself in all the right positions, doing the right things. You know, under that sort of tricky spell we were talking about before, he wouldn't have scored that second goal he got. He wouldn't have tried the first one, and he wouldn't have ran to get onto the second one. You know, where he's just chased it all the way down, sniffing out an opportunity, and then coolly puts it over the goalkeeper. Again, class with confidence, like the first one. Yeah. So for me, 2 classy finishes, you know, but working his socks off at the same time. Because around the team, it was a real team effort again, which it is every week with Forest. I did give a bit of a mention earlier on to Dominguez. You know, I thought Dominguez doing what he does was absolutely magnificent. You know, just never stops running, never always in the back. Come on, running back. You know, him and Yates in there for away matches. You know, you're not going to get outfought. And whether they play well or not or indifferent, you know you're not going to get outfought when them two are in the midfield. And I think a bit of a mention for him because amongst it all, he'd become a little bit of a forgotten man, hadn't he? Do you know, not forgotten, but you know what I mean. He's
in his best position, Des, as a number 8. I keep saying that that's his best position, a number 8. He's not number 6. He's not a winger.
Yeah, and that was the problem, wasn't it? Because again, he were being used in positions that weren't his strength.
Yeah.
You know, it all came. You say that about the winger, and I'm totally in agreement with you. His best position is 8, where he can be let loose in the middle and he's chasing things down. But again, from a big performance at Liverpool, probably being asked to do something he's not natural with, a lot of confidence has come with it. You know, a lot of self-belief again, and that's what you get from winning football matches. So, yeah, definitely Dominguez. You know, I thought Yates again, just riling everyone up. You know, he was constantly at us. I don't know how he did, to be honest.
And I don't know if you could see it. It was 90th. Was it 88th minute, Des? He just kept telling. It was like for 1 minute, wasn't it? He just kept saying, "Fans, come on, more."
Yeah, I know why you were doing it. It were keeping us going, and it was loud. But I thought you don't need to rile us up today. But he was constant, and that's great because we're behind them. He's behind us. You know, but on the pitch, he's doing that. You know, he's sort of winning his tackles and barging into people and winning free kicks. And so, yeah, I thought them two. And again, there's that little thing about Anderson having a quiet. I don't buy into him having a quiet game. There's lots of things he did were really effective on the football pitch. And just, it's nothing to do with what you said. I'll give you my rating in a sec. Just looking at that second goal after half time, I remember it in the game, and when I saw it on TV, the little back heel from Moreno.
Yeah.
Right, just to keep possession, because he was going down a bit of a channel. He was in no man's land, and the ball was basically out of play.
Yeah.
And just a simple thing. It's not for the skill of it. It was just the kind of confidence they've got in the team to do it, and it was easy. It was easy to execute, but he had to do this little back heel, which then ultimately leads to an opportunity. And again, those things wouldn't have happened, would they? That ball would have been in the stands or trickling out of play. last season. So it just shows again, it's just a measure of how far we've come. So on that, I'd say I'm not normally very generous with my team ratings because I always think there's a lot more to come. But I'd say a definite 8 for yesterday. You know, if it weren't for Vardy's goal and like Steve said, just a little flat spell before half time. You know, I don't think they was on top of us or anything, but a little flat spell. I think a solid 8.
Solid 8. I'll say, you know what? Go on, Steve.
There you go, Ben. No, go on you, Ben, and I'll give my...
Oh, no, I'm just saying, I'll say, I think a great Dominguez was, for me, was fantastic alongside Yates because he likes it, his position. I always like it, the number 8 role. So for me, the easy one will say Chris Wood. But I'll say Dominguez for me. I think he played great. I know he went off and that, but for me, my man of the match was Dominguez, and I rated him was, I'll say 8.5. 8.5 for the whole team performance. But yeah, Steve, last one before we go.
Yeah, it's just my point about Dominguez. I felt he was brilliant against Palace, covered every blade of grass, because someone put on Twitter earlier, 71%, the planet is covered by 71% of water, the rest is covered by Dominguez. I like that. But I find out of all the midfielders we have, maybe the exception of Sangari because he's a 6, Dominguez, you have to play him in his position, because I feel with Dominguez, if you don't, like you say, Ben, if you play him out of position, he gets lost.
Yes.
He gets lost. Because I went to the Bournemouth game, beginning of the season, I was there live watching it, and he was on the wing. Because remember that game we played before, we didn't play with any width.
Yes.
He looked lost. He just looked lost. He was looking around, he track back, run forward. So I think with him, he has to, like, I agree with you, Ben, he has to play in that 8 role, because in the last 2 games he's shown he's covered so much grass.
Yeah.
He's on the toes. He's high press. If you pull him out of position, he just seems to get a bit lost, and he gets lost in the shuffle of the game, and that's where he gets subbed, or maybe he doesn't get a game.
Because that's where you have to appreciate what he does, what he actually
exactly
does, not what he doesn't do. Lots of people want to label him as a number 6 defensive. No, you can't just naturally go and play number 6. There's an art to that, and there's an art to what Dominguez does. Because he doesn't score, and he's never going to. You talk about Yates earlier on and other players and goal output. Because they're not Frank Lampard, or Steven Gerrard breaking from midfield, everybody thinks, well, they're defensive then. The amount of times I've heard people call Ryan Yates and Dominguez a defensive midfielder, they're not at all. They're battlers, fighters, retrievers. They might not be the most technically gifted on a football, but you have to appreciate what they bring to the team in what they do. And sometimes that's breaking up possession, high up the pitch, and I spoke about, I still don't think, even with all this positivity, we've quite cracked the number 6. That we've got Ward Price on loan, and he's a different kind of number 6. If he is a number 6 himself, we've got lots of number 8s in this team.
Yes, we have.
But you just appreciate the fact that why I was saying we needed a 6 was to let the flair players, give them half a second more, give them more of the ball, get the ball to him cleaner, easier, all those kind of things the number 6 does. But if you've got a guy like Dominguez and Anderson and Ward-Prowse doing it that little bit higher, if you're somehow compensating for your 6 and they're winning the ball back, it's doing the same kind of thing, but 5 yards further up the pitch. It's giving Morgan Gibbs-White an extra half a second on the ball. It's getting that ball to Hudson-Odoi quicker. You touched on Hudson-Odoi's performance. I think a lot of that was through the donkey work done in the middle. Hudson-Odoi had a couple of opportunities, and again, because of the way the midfield did their job, and whatever they said about Winks, he was too deep. It allowed our midfield, to get the ball to Hudson-Odoi, for him to come inside and look to stick that one in the bottom corner. And it nearly paid off just before half time, where it was our and into the top corner. So I think you really have to sort of understand what these guys do in those positions and sort of accept it, not ask for 5-10 goals because that's not their game. you'd like to think if Ward Prowse played every week, you'd get 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever, but the different commodities. And again, it's so nice. Someone made the point there. It's so nice to be able to appreciate it and enjoy it and look into it rather than sort of be talking about what didn't work.
100%. Right, it's been a great show. Thank you, everyone. That's time to listen to myself and Steve and Des as always. We won. Leicester fans, I hope you're still crying. So I hope you are crying. Jack, I'm not got no sympathy for you. I hope you're crying as well. But yeah, it's been a great show. Thank you, everyone, as well. Before we do, please do hit the like button. Subscribe if you know. Make sure everyone follows everyone on social medias as well. I know Steve's not on Instagram just yet. I've been trying to encourage him to get on there, but he's still waiting. But yeah, it's been a great show. Make sure everyone follows Des on X as well. He does after, before and after game reaction as well. I did watch your reaction and the way he said after the game. What did you say right at the end, Des? You said something. Something sarcastic, and
I said about Agent Cooper, mission accomplished by
that's
Agent
word.
Cooper.
That's it. Agent Cooper.
Just a funny little story. Someone came up to me yesterday in the pub after. I found a Forest fan to have a drink with, and he says, "I really like you as a person, but you bore me these days."
No,
But they bought me a drink anyway, so I thought I'm winning.
Yeah, one
fair
of
play. Yeah, fair play. But yeah, right, people. Thank you everyone for taking part. Like I said, I'm back tomorrow. I've got Dylan and Molo tomorrow. Do part 2, talk about yesterday's game. But yeah, let's have fun. We beat Leicester. Shall I put another video up? That other video before we do leave to take the piss out of Jack. I will do. It's been a great show. Thank you for everyone taking part. Peace and love. Up the Forest.
A real mess in defence, that one by Leicester. Got to clear first down, we don't, and it's cost us, and yeah, Fords concede that goal. Here we go. Forest lead 2-1. I said Chris Wood would score before this game, and I'm not surprised. Man always scores again. Unbelievable defending again now. Very poor.